Okay, I think we're working. We are live, Harvey Tuttle. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's great to be here with you all. I've never done any of this before. I'm way out of my league here. My webcam just came in the mail about 20 minutes ago, but we are loving it here. If you're here, I've got one person here I see. Hit me up. Hit me up with some questions in the chat. On Instagram at Harvey Tuttle, I've got my mock draft all written up, all ready to go for you to see. Hit me up with any questions you have. But first, I'm going to go over some of our headlines that have happened in the last few weeks since my last episode with free agency. A few weeks ago, James Conner signed with the Arizona Cardinals, which came out of left field for me. I thought the Steelers would have wanted to keep their number one guy and try to, I don't know, he's a good running back. I like him a lot. They literally gave up Le'Veon Bell because they thought James Conner was going to be their guy. So I'm not too sure why the Steelers let him go, but the Cardinals needed a running back. If you listened at all during my fantasy analysis episodes last season, or even any episode, I hate Kenyon Drake. And I don't think he's a good running back. I don't think he was worth the hype in the preseason last year, but I think that James Conner is a great addition for the Arizona Cardinals. He's going to do fantastic lined up beside Kyler Murray and really help Kyler Murray in not just his own running game, but also in the pass game, which is going to be crucial if they want to make a playoff run. I don't know if you guys saw, but today, of all days, Teddy Bridgewater signed with, or was traded to the Denver Broncos for a 6th-round pick by the Panthers. So two things kind of happened there. There is some quarterback competition for the Broncos, I think. And I really think that Bridgewater is going to compete with Drew Lock really well in that quarterback room and could even take over the starting job. Also, Darnold looks set to be the starting quarterback for the Panthers now. There is no question about it. There's no quarterback competition in Carolina. Sam Darnold is their guy, and he is going to probably lead them to, I think, possibly the head of the NFC South there. Cameron, you said that the Cardinals are an AFC favorite, in your opinion. That's my opinion as well. I think that the Cardinals last season, I think they could have been an NFC favorite as well if their defense had been a little bit better and if their offense was able to get a little bit more help in the pass game. Both problems they've addressed, and it's going to be a very hard sell for, not a hard sell, but it's going to be hard for them to do because the NFC West is just, thinking about it, probably gives Russell Wilson nightmares right now. Like, there is some great defensive players in the NFC West. There's some great offenses in the NFC West. Now you've got Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and who knows what the San Francisco 49ers are going to do at quarterback. Either Jimmy Garoppolo or, in my mock draft, I've got Justin Fields being picked by the 49ers there. We know Kyle Shanahan is really has said a lot of really great things about Justin Fields. And so we could see the NFC West being one of the best divisions, not only next season, but in the history of the NFL. And honestly, I'm really excited for that. Top 3 teams, Sheena asked. My top 3 teams in the league right now, and actually that kind of leads into my final years. They've re-signed all 22 starters that they had on the field during the Super Bowl. That's either a recipe for success or a recipe for disaster. We know that a lot of Super Bowl teams, most Super Bowl teams, they have huge issues trying to repeat as champions. And the Buccaneers re-signing all of their starters, I don't know if it's going to be a recipe for success. The NFL changes so much from year to year. I I don't even think without COVID that the Buccaneers get out of the first or second round of the playoffs last season. I think the COVID pandemic really helped the Buccaneers be able to make it to the Super Bowl and put them in a position to win. We'll have to see if that same roster can do it under what seems to be normal circumstances going into the next season, or at least somewhat normal circumstances. Roger Goodell, of course, said that he wants 100% capacity in all of the stadiums opening weekend. Is it a little ambitious? It might be, but I think it's a good goal to try to set for the NFL and hopefully get back to some normalcy. Top three teams, though, I would say right now the Chiefs are definitely in the top three for me. I think the Buccaneers fall just out of the top three. I want to say, this might be controversial, but I want to say that the Carolina Panthers are in the top three teams in the league for me right now. And especially if they draft right tomorrow and this weekend, I think the Panthers will make a run at being possibly the Super Bowl champion next year. Sam Darnold has a lot of upside, in my opinion. You got Christian McCaffrey out there. If they can snag a wide receiver threat and get some defensive players there to complement the ones that are already in Carolina, I think they can make a big run. I mean, that's two NFC teams, or I guess an AFC. I said Kansas City. For my last top three, I would have to say, there's so many to pick, but I'm going to say the Arizona Cardinals. Two NFC teams and one AFC team. I really like the Cardinals. I've already said it. They got J.J. Watt on the defensive line now. If he can stay healthy, that defense will be a threat all season. If they can draft right as well and fix some offensive line, if not issues, but just kind of top off the offensive line and get a couple more pieces on defense, I'm really thinking that the Cardinals could be the best team in the NFC next year. Cameron, you said we have not seen anything from Darnold yet, and it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing, and I agree. It's really hard for me to gauge a quarterback that's been stuck in a system like the New York Jets system for the past few years. We saw some really great flashes from Sam Darnold last season, and even the season before, he throws very well. He's a very accurate passer. I think he has been weakened in the sense that he's had a 1,000-year-old running back in the backfield for the past 3 seasons in Frank Gore. I mean, when the guy runs, you can just see dust trails behind him. Like, I don't know how the Jets can, or any team for that matter, can somehow reason within themselves to keep Frank Gore on the football field. He is not helping your team win. He's not doing a good job. Your offensive line isn't good enough to be able to keep around that old of a running back. And honestly, Darnold didn't really have a defense to play with either in New York. So I'm glad that he's out of New York and that we get to see a little bit more. He's in a really good offensive system right now. The coaches' names are blanking on me right now, but they've got some great offensive minds in Carolina. And I think the addition of not only a running threat in Christian McCaffrey, but the duality of McCaffrey's ability to run the ball and be an effective receiver, even one of the best receivers in Carolina, I think that's going to help Darnold look like an all-star quarterback. And Sam Darnold, mark it down right here. I said it, April 28th, 2021. Sam Darnold will be in the Pro Bowl next year. He's going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback next year with the Carolina Panthers. Okay, well, let me talk about my mock draft a little bit here. No surprise here at the number 1 or number 2 spots. I've got Trevor Lawrence. It's been said, it's been mulled over, it's been um, conspiracized. I don't know the word. That the Jaguars might go with someone else, but I think Trevor Lawrence is the right decision here. He may not have been able to look as good in pressure situations in the last couple of seasons, but he is a good quarterback. He's got great arm strength, great accuracy, great leadership skills, and I think he's going to fit perfectly down there in Jacksonville with Urban Meyer and the Jaguars. The Jets, it's been mulled over, the same thing as the number 1 pick. Who are the Jets going to take at number 2? Zach Wilson should be the number 2 pick. Is he a little bit overhyped? I think so. I think we might be disappointed in his first year, and people are going to want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Say, hey, let's get him out of here. He's not doing very well in the Jets. We need a new quarterback. But it's going to take a couple of years, I think, for Wilson to really be competitive in the NFL, especially with the Jets. And with the Jets being who the injury troubles in this first season in the NFL, like he has in the last few seasons with BYU. I have the 49ers taking Justin Fields. You know, the memes are going around about Kyle Shanahan saying, hey, I don't even know who's going to be alive on Sunday, let alone who I'm going to draft. And I think he loves Justin Fields. I think he's ready to pounce on him should he be available at number 3. Cameron, I don't see Wilson being any good. I'm sorry, BYU fans. You know, it's hard for me to tell. If the Jets can get a really good offensive mind there to complement, able to develop at least into being not a great quarterback, but at least a pretty decent one. Do I think he's going to lead the Jets to the Super Bowl? Maybe not. But do I think he can be coached up to be the kind of quarterback that can lead this football team to some sort of success? Yes, I think Wilson can definitely do that. But I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be great. I think he might be decent at best, but he's at least got some skill set that can give the Jets some sort of excitement. You've got Robert Saleh there at head coach now, great defensive mind, and you've got Wilson now at quarterback that can help sell some tickets. The Falcons was a hard pick for me. I don't know what y'all think that the Falcons should be trying to pick up in the number 4 pick. A lot of people actually have them trading their pick to that high. I think the Falcons are looking for a replacement in Matt Ryan, and I think they're going to find it in Mac Jones, quarterback for Alabama. Now, if you listen to my last episode, I wasn't very high on Mac Jones at all. I don't really like him very much. It's not that I don't like him. It's just Alabama quarterbacks are kind of iffy for me. I don't know how they're going to do in the NFL. But I think Mac Jones has showed a good enough upside where the Falcons will want to take him at number 4 and try to have him play behind Matt Ryan for the first couple of years. The latest example that you have of this is Patrick Mahomes. He played a year behind Alex Smith in Kansas City until Kansas City dealt Alex Smith to Washington, and Patrick Mahomes was able to come in, and he's been Mahomes ever since. And I think that comes from being able to learn behind a quarterback like Matt Ryan. That's exactly what Cameron just said. I mean, that is the best. That is the best comparison. Yeah, I read your mind, Cameron. This YouTube channel thing, I've got it set up to just see all of you and see all of your thoughts right now, and it's incredible what technology can do. Mac Jones it has a good upside, and I think with the likes of Julio Jones as well in Atlanta, he can develop into probably a pretty good quarterback. I love you too, Cameron. So Cincinnati. Let's look at Cincinnati. There's been a lot of different picks here at number 5 for the Bengals. And I think that Cincinnati would be completely, ridiculously stupid to go anywhere other than the offensive line. If Cincinnati drafts a wide receiver in Ja'Marr Chase or a tight end in Kyle Pitts, I think chalk it up, write it down. Joe Burrow will get injured and have to sit out another season. If you do not address your offensive line issues with a top 5 pick in the offensive line position, you're crazy. I think they take Penei, I don't know how to say his name very well, Sewell, in Oregon. Now, a lot of, I saw in the scout report that some owners and some general managers are kind of worried about his work ethic and his demeanor in the locker room. Now, that's something to look out for, but if there's a place for Sewell to do well in, it's probably Cincinnati. Joe Burrow seems like a great leader. He's taken that team by storm, and I think he would do fantastic in the Bengals system and really give Burrow the protection he needs. Okay, we got the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins really need some help in their offense on wide receiver. Of course, they had one of the best defenses last season. Look at their defensive performance against Patrick Mahomes. They had about 3 or 4 interceptions in the whole game. They did pretty well on defense. I don't think they need to address very much on that side of the ball. And so I have them taking Ja'Marr Chase in this pick, number 6 pick, wide receiver out of LSU. Ja'Marr Chase, he's an animal. I can't imagine Joe Burrow doing as well as he did without Ja'Marr Chase. And I think that's why it's kind of hard for Bengals fans to see the Bengals going any other way except for Chase. But I think the Dolphins jump at the fact to give Tua Tagovailoa the chance to throw to this absolute animal. Number 7, I got a little bit of a trade going on. I got the Patriots trading up with the Lions. So the Lions going down to pick number 15 and the Patriots coming up to pick number 7. Now, a lot of people have the Patriots going up to try to pick a quarterback. I don't think that they're really looking for a quarterback. I think they're kind of developing Stidham behind Cam Newton and with Josh McDaniels. And so I had the Patriots going up to pick Devonta Smith, the Heisman winner out of Alabama. I think that one of the hardest things for Cam Newton and the Patriots last season was there was no one really to throw to for Cam. And so we've got a weapon coming to the Patriots. And who's better at developing an underrated player than Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels in New England? What do you guys think? Do you think that Devonta Smith can really handle it in the NFL? A lot of things have been said about his size. Do you think his size is going to be a factor in the NFL at all? Hit it up in the chat. Let me hear it. Number 8, I've got the Panthers taking Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle out of Northwestern. And I think that, I said at the top of the show about Sam Darnold, and I said it a couple of times, they just need a little tweaking on the offensive line in Carolina, and then they can really solidify this offense as probably a top 5 offense in the NFL. The Broncos is a pick that I looked at about 10 minutes before this show started, and I thought, wow, the Broncos just traded for Teddy Bridgewater. Are they really going to take a quarterback at pick number 9? I really think they still might take a quarterback. Why not? I believe the Jets did it about 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, where they just took 4 or 5 quarterbacks, put them in a quarterback room, and got rid of some in training camp. They might have even had 6 or 7, but I think the Broncos are going to try to crowd that room and make for some good quarterback competition. And what better way to do it than taking Trey Lance at number 9, quarterback out of North Dakota State. I really think the Broncos need to somewhat stop this quarterback carousel that's been happening ever since Peyton Manning retired in 2016. And I think Trey Lance has a good opportunity to do that. I don't know about you, but whenever I see pictures of Trey Lance on the football field, I think it's Patrick Mahomes for some reason. He looks the same, not even in his play, it's his face. It's weird. But I think that Trey Lance has a good opportunity to try to be the Josh Allen of this draft, coming out of North Dakota State, of all schools, and trying to make a name for himself in an underrated team like the Broncos. Now, this next pick is probably my most controversial one. A lot of people have Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Florida, coming and being picked in the first 5, maybe 6 picks in this draft. I've got him falling to 10. And the Cowboys are in desperate need of a cornerback. They really need someone to help out in that secondary in Dallas. But if Kyle Pitts falls to you at pick number 10, I think you have to jump on to one of the best tight ends that we've ever seen come out of college football. Kyle Pitts has the opportunity to exceed the stats and exceed the notoriety that has come of Jason Witten at the tight end position in Dallas. I think the combination of why is his name escaping me right now? I think the combination of Kyle Pitts and someone type out the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. I cannot remember him for the life of me right now, and I don't know why. Kyle Pitts and the Dallas offense is going to do exceptionally well. I think that they are going to have some great chemistry. I think having Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield to complement Pitts and to complement the passing game is going to rival that of, let's say, the Panthers offense or the Buccaneers offense or even the Cardinals offense or the Packers offense. I think, wow, just looking at that, the NFC is going to have some insane offenses. Even the Rams offense with Matthew Stafford at the helm. You got the Seahawks offense. There's going to be some great offense coming out of the NFC. But yeah, Kyle Pitts, I think he's going to complement that team really nice. Although the Cowboys desperately need a cornerback here, I think they pass on Patrick Surtain II and they go for Kyle Pitts just because of the one in a million chance that they would end up with a player like that at number 10. You guys have probably had a chance to see my Instagram post by now at Harvey's Huddle on Instagram. Do you guys have any objections to any of the picks I've made? We've gone through my top 10 here today, but do you guys have any questions about the picks I made or any objections about any of these top 10 picks especially? Sheena said, is COVID going to delay this season? Anyone you think is going to retire? I'm not sure about the retirement part. I mean, we always get some surprise retirements happening towards the beginning of the season. but I wouldn't be surprised to see Frank Gore retire. In fact, if I was New York, I'd be paying him desperately to retire. I'd be trying to get him out of there as soon as possible, so that they could move on, and so that they could try to be somewhat of a running threat in the NFL. As far as COVID delaying the season, I don't know. This is a little plug. I'm going to be putting in an episode about the Canadian Football League in the next couple of weeks. But the CFL, they've delayed their season because of COVID. They're also very much a smaller market league. So they usually start in June, but they're going to be starting in August now. I don't think there's a chance that the NFL will be delayed by COVID. I think the NFL did a fantastic job, just amazing at handling the COVID pandemic in this last season. Little to no schedule changes unless you're the Ravens or the Steelers. They handled it so well, and props to the NFL, and I think they're going to continue to do that. Cameron, you said, I think that possibly Kyle Pitts is going to New England if they trade up. Not even sure who's on the Patriots anymore. Amen to that. With Edelman leaving, that leaves a huge gap in the wide receiver position. Even though Edelman didn't really produce in the regular season, he was more of a postseason threat, in my opinion. But I could definitely see the Patriots taking Kyle Pitts in either the 7th pick or whatever pick that they decide to trade up to. That is definitely a possibility, and I could see that happening, and that would be a smart move probably as well. He's got a little bit more size in him than Devonta Smith, which is huge in the tight end position. He reminds me a lot of a more athletic Gronkowski, in my opinion. Like, he's just, the things that I saw him do is incredible out in Florida with Kyle Trask, and I think he could make that happen. Imagine an athlete like that, like Kyle Pitts, in New England with Cam Newton. Like, that would probably be almost a match made in heaven. Like, that would be perfect. And if the Patriots can somehow trade into the first round again and pick up a wide receiver like Devonta Smith at the end, I'm sure the Buccaneers are hearing out offers for their first round pick. Number 32 isn't really much of a pick to want, but it would be a huge offense, like you said, Cameron. It would be a big one, especially if they're able to pick up a big running back as well. I don't think so. I had Najee Harris going to the Steelers at pick number 24, and I have Travis Etienne going to the Dolphins at number 18. Can you imagine Etienne going to the Dolphins? That would be, you got Etienne going in running back, and you have Jamar Chase going in at wide receiver. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm chasing that dream hardcore. I am chasing that dream until I fall asleep at night. They need that kind of firepower on offense to complement that fantastic defense. I don't think I have any more highlights to talk about in my mock draft, unless you guys have any more questions to ask. I'll give you a minute to type that out. But I appreciate you guys coming out and at least listening to this live show. I'm going to have it up on YouTube again, probably either tonight or tomorrow, and I'm going to try to figure out a way to pull the audio so that I can get it on to podcasts. Check out the rest of my draft board on Instagram at Harvey's Huddle. I'm going to be posting on Twitter as well at Harvey_Huddle. Like I said, I appreciate you guys coming out. Look for an episode coming out about the Canadian Football League in a couple weeks, and probably next week or the week after, I'm going to post my reactions to the actual draft that goes on starting tomorrow with the first round. This has been a great test run, a great first time being live with all of you. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Next time I go live, it'll probably be somewhat of a predictions sort of thing when it comes to my rankings for the regular season and who's going to win the Super Bowl. So any chance that Zach Wilson falls to 3 or 4, Cameron asked. Well, let's see. Who would the Jets take over Zach Wilson? I guess they could take Justin Fields over Zach Wilson at number 2. I don't think they would take Trey Lance, and I don't think they would take Kyle Trask. So it'd probably be between Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, or Mac Jones. Now, I don't think Mac Jones, I talked about that already. I don't think Mac Jones is going to go anywhere where he needs to be a starter in his first year. So that leaves it up to Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. Yeah, I could see the 49ers having to take Zach Wilson and the Jets taking Justin Fields. What would be really crazy if the Jets be the Jets and take Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon, at number 2. I don't think that would be a good decision at all, but I think they need to take a quarterback at number 2 here. But yeah, I could definitely see Zach Wilson falling to 3 or 4. And if he doesn't get picked up in the first 4 picks, he's going to drop out of the first round, potentially. Actually, I lie. He'll probably, if he falls out of the first 4 picks, he'll probably go to the Bears. Right now are the Bears at number 20, taking Kyle Trask, the Heisman candidate out of Florida. Either they're going to take Trask at number 20 or they're going to trade up. And so if Zach Wilson starts falling, I think the Bears start trading up and trying to get their guy. And in Chicago, I mean, Wilson might just be dynamic. They've got a pretty decent wide receiver core. They've got the tools there on defense. The most annoying thing about Chicago is I feel like there are pieces there for them to be able to be successful, but for some reason they're not coming together. And so, yeah, I think Zach Wilson, if he falls to 3 or 4, someone's got to pick him up, or else he could get picked up by, I mean, I don't see the Falcons passing on him if he drops to 4, but if he drops to 7 and he's there for the Lions or the Patriots if they trade up, I mean, the Patriots might even go Zach Wilson if he starts falling. I pray that the Broncos don't go for Zach Wilson. I don't think Wilson's going to be great, but I think he's got a chance. And if he stays out of Denver, I think he's got an even better chance at being at least something. I don't think the Eagles would take him. I don't think the Vikings could take him. But yeah, I think the Patriots, the Falcons, the 49ers, the Jets, maybe the Steelers, maybe the Colts, the Bears. I think those are really the main teams that could be looking at him. And who knows, maybe even the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers might want to trade up if he starts falling and try to get someone that can learn behind Tom Brady. Could you imagine? Think about it. Close your eyes with me for a second and think. Tom Brady trains Zach Wilson, and he's able to take the Buccaneers to another Super Bowl in the next few years. Like, I think if he has an opportunity to learn behind Tom Brady, that's in my opinion. But great question, Cameron. That's interesting to think about if he starts falling. But the only way I see that happening is if the 49ers take or if the Jets take Justin Fields at pick number 2. Perfect. Well, I think that's all I have for you, unless Cameron has another question here. If not, I mean, I'm a pretty big noob when it comes to these kind of live streams. I was trying to figure out some sort of streaming system, and I was starting to learn it today, and it wasn't really working out, so I wasn't able to get that up and going. But hopefully, my next live stream has some sort of music, some sort of graphics where I can put videos on it, and that's what I'm planning for. That's what I'm going to try to do for the next one. Even look out for video podcasts coming up. And Cameron, you summed it up perfectly. I think I'm ready to go, and I think I'm ready to watch the draft. Let's go, baby. I am so excited for this draft. I'm really excited for these kids to, I say kids the same age as me. I'm really excited for them to get their shot in the NFL. I think Trevor Lawrence has a shot to make Jacksonville great again. I say that again when they've only had the 1 year where they were really great in 2017. The fifth, Urban Meyer at the helm. I think that this number 1 pick, is one of the most important ones we've seen in the last few years. So good luck to all of the candidates going into the draft weekend. Even if you get drafted round 6, you're still in the NFL and still probably millions of dollars richer than I am. So congratulations. Round of applause to you. And let's go watch the draft. Thank you so much for tuning in to Harvey's Huddle. I'm Jackson Harvey, and I hope you guys have a great draft weekend.